I've heard that the school bond could be upwards of $25 million, and that's sticker shock. I mean, I think it's really easy to say, well, we have a lot more kids, so we have to do it. I mean, that's like holding a gun to your head, and you're being kept hostage. I mean, I have 3 young kids that are in the Rye school system, and believe me, I want what's best for my kids too. But I think it's kind of just a little bit lazy to say, well, we have more kids, so you have to vote for this. That's I think we need to give a little more scrutiny to the plan and to make sure that the school bond issue is as narrowly tailored as possible to meet the absolute necessary needs of the community. And I think that that's going to come up quickly. I mean, I understand that the school board wants to vote on it in December, so that's right around the corner. So, and I haven't really heard a lot of debate coming out of there yet. I mean, obviously it's in the newspaper, but I don't think that there's really been a community forum where everyone can kind of come together and talk about it. I mean, obviously it's going to gain momentum at upcoming school board meetings. But your question was, does city residents have the appetite for both? I don't think they do. I would hate to think that the city is going to play second fiddle or get short shrift on its just as important items that need to be funded just because we came second or because it doesn't involve children. I think that probably the school board, since we can't have a referendum until next year just because of the timing. So there's no way we're going first. We can't get anything on the agenda before November or before December when they have their vote.
Our elastic revenues have been shrinking for years. We relied for many years on the mortgage recording tax, but with the recession as it is, those elastic revenues have just gone away. So where do we get our revenues? We get them, significantly from the property taxes. And infrastructure is one of those things that you can put it off, but you're going to pay. If not today, you will pay more tomorrow. And I really think that our list of capital improvement projects, it's long, and there are many needs in this community. And obviously, since our first question was about flooding, we know that that's an infrastructure need that we really cannot afford as a community to put off. So I think that as a community, while I enjoy the idea of pay as you go, some of the projects that we're talking about are hopefully will have benefits for many, many years to come. So people that aren't living in Rye today, that come into town 10 years from now, will have the benefit of something that we bonded for. And I think that it'll be our job to come up with that list and sell the idea to the community, and hopefully they will embrace that.
We started, I was president of the school board from 2008 through 2011. And one of the things that we started to do was really step up the communication and coordination between the Board of Education and the City Council. We've had more joint meetings than traditionally there were in the past. We had an informal understanding that we could meet twice a year rather than once a year, and at least have that on everybody's agenda. It isn't always necessary. But I can tell you that because of that, the city and the Board of Ed had a discussion about how to roll out capital projects and where the needs were. And we were very much aware that there were going to be infrastructure expenditures that the city would be packaging and getting ready, and that a lot of that wouldn't be ready to go to the public right away. And they knew that the school district was looking at an enrollment challenge and basically a high school that if something isn't done will be bursting at the seams. So we were coordinated on that, and that is something that comes from experience, and that is something that's actually the common thread in what all of us are talking about with respect to flooding and with respect to bonds and capital projects. We have the experience, we know how to hit the ground running. We've been working on these things collectively for many, many years of elected public volunteer service in this community. We know what it takes to pull a consensus together, to communicate with the public, to make sure we've listened to the public and understand their sensitivities. One of the things that I think you'll see as you watch the dialogue of the school district discuss the different aspects of that capital projects are their choices. to be made. And the Board of Education and the community will have been and will continue to have a dialogue in the very near term about what will actually be part of what we all expect to be a bond referendum later on this calendar year.
It's a fair question, but I really wouldn't want to put that to a vote right now because I think that you would really divide the city. So absolutely, there would be a huge division in the city as to which is more important. So I think you just need to take a more long-term approach to both of them and think about what will be best for Rye. So to come back to your original question about the school budget, the interesting thing about the school's bond proposal is that it is a very open process. The public has demonstrated that they really do scrutinize those proposals, and if the public doesn't have the appetite for a $25 million school renovation project, we'll know about that, and we'll know about that pretty quickly. I think you're right that at the same time the city has to continue to press the public on the serious infrastructure improvements that need to be done, and a lot of them relate to children. So it's not really a choice between children and pipes. In a lot of cases, it's children and children. You're talking about pedestrian safety. One among the city's infrastructure projects are improving safe routes to school, and that's an essential part of getting our kids to school here, where we have no busing, and we encourage people to walk or children to walk to school.
You certainly don't want to have a science lab that is going to be flooded. I mean, I think that one of the things that having an open government does is put together different conflicting projects so that people can be able to assess the value of each, because after all we have limited number of resources, and yes, a bond of 25 million can be very onerous in the short term and in the long term, because after all you're going to have to pay through taxes or through rolling over that debt, and the more you lever the city, the more you put at risk our ratings, and that implies higher interest rates going forward. So there's a wide spectrum of implications that something like this may have, and you cannot take it lightly. So I think that by saying these are the two competing projects for a limited amount of resources, we have to prioritize. We have to see what part of the school project can be phased out, like Joe was saying, what is absolutely necessary to accommodate the new population of students coming in. But also we have this other emergency that we have suffered, I think, very evidently over the last few weeks. We know now that we have an infrastructure emergency, if you wish, that we have to address. So we have to prioritize, and we have to allow the citizens to choose, and not to just have one side of the argument present their case without having the other side given the opportunity to also say, well, no, we also have this priority coming up, and we have to choose. We would love to do everything, but we can't.